So first off, apologies for the dishevelled appearance. I'm just very tired. I know that my stalker will have lots of fun talking about my lack of makeup, my lank, greasy yellow hair, and my 2 inches of dark roots. Well, do you know what? I don't care. I know that I was beautifully and wonderfully made in the image of God. And I know that my husband loves me, and my children love me, and my family and my friends love me. And yeah, so what? So what if I look a bit rubbish at the moment? I'm a human being. Anyway, an update on what's happening. So since I did the last video blog, the guy's site got taken down 3 times. So he had this site under his own initials. And the guy that was hosting it, he was the head of software at the BBC, put pressure on him. He pulled the plug. The guy then went to a different server, put pressure on them, and they pulled the plug. And now he's gone to a web host in Iceland, and they won't pull the plug because it's all about free speech and it comes under Iceland's jurisdiction. It's a shame, really, because the other hosts could see that this was abusive content that violated their terms of service, but I guess Iceland's different jurisdiction. Anyway, so yeah, the website's on its, I think, 4th incarnation. It's changed from his initials to being about my tombstone teeth. Now that's because on one of his entries on his blog, this guy wrote, "I bet Father Pharaoh loves your tombstone teeth wrapped around his cock." So he thinks that that's a suitable name for his next website. He denies having anything to do with it other than it acting in a sort of advisory capacity, but he's made a couple of guest posts under his own name. And it's interesting because the posts that are on there display exactly the same sentiments as the previous website, exactly the same vocab, same language, and exactly the same things that the abusive Twitter accounts that he set up was saying. Same hashtags, same photographs being outed. It's identical. It is identical. So it'd be interesting to see who is behind it if it isn't this same man. But the evidence seems to very, very strongly suggest to it. He hates my videos. He says that a barrister is going to tear me apart in court. Well, I'm at my wit's end. So since this happened, as I said, every single day I'm having blog posts and invective posted about me. I think on one day there was well over 25 blog posts written. He first of all said that I had to give £1,000 to Stonewall, and he would consider stopping. That's because he's hijacked the transgender issue and he's decided that I'm a terrible transphobe. And on some of his blog posts, he's stolen material used by some of the trans rights activists which have targeted me. And this is obviously quite alarming because some of the trans rights activists are quite violent. You only have to look up some of their punch a turf rhetoric, and there's a whole website, turfisaslur.com, and that collates a lot of the violent rhetoric and the violent threats that are being made against people like me, women like me, who want to keep sex-segregated spaces. Together with him publishing my address, and he started publishing the movements of my husband, where my husband is going to be at any one given time. And he justifies this by saying, well, it's in the public domain. Yeah, this stuff is in the public domain, but only in the context of if you are a parishioner or a local and you might want to, get hold of a Catholic priest or whatever, or you might want to know what's going on. He's actually collating this all in the context of, I hate Caroline Farrow, she's a horrible, nasty, a vengeful, spiteful, bitch. I hate that word. But he's got this whole kind of I hate Caroline Farrow website, and it's within that context that he is giving out address details, phone numbers. He's threatening to send members of his team to our house or to various events that we're at. I'm finding it really frightening, and frustrating. Everyone's saying to me, Caroline, don't talk about this. Don't let him know that he's getting to you. But at the same time, he's blogging stuff that he knows where my children go to school because he's worked it out and he's explained how he's worked it out, which seems to me very, very sinister. it's not normal behaviour, is it, to try and look up where somebody's kids go to school and say, well, I'm not going to tell anyone, but I know, and if I can work it out, then other people can. And he's pointing other people to how they can work out where my children go to school. I've been to the police again, and I keep updating the police. And of course, the latest extortion demand is I now have to give £2,500 to Stonewall and £2,500 to Alderhay Hospital, kind of in reparation. And every time I refuse, he says he's going to increase the demand. He thinks that we're kind of awash with cash, which is just not true, because, he's been stalking me, and anything I've ever said on social media, he's kind of taken and twisted. So my husband's 13-year-old car blew up 2 weeks ago, and it was going to cost £1,500 to get the head gasket mended, and it was, a beaten up old Skoda from 2005. With the kind of family, we do need 2 cars. And so my husband has just bought a 4-year-old car, quite low mileage, and he bought it for cash rather than using a finance scheme because they charge so much interest, because he was able to get an interest-free loan from somewhere. I shouldn't have to put this out there, but he's going, oh yeah, Father Robin can afford to buy a car for cash, therefore you've got all this money, and just making huge assumptions about our finances. But in any event, I wouldn't pay money, certainly to Stonewall, and certainly not to Alderhay. And he's doing this because he says, I want to bring tears to your eyes, and I want to make you suffer for being such a nasty Catholic bigot. A lot of the stuff on his site is hate crime, and that it's religiously motivated. It's very anti-Catholic. He's saying you can shove your rosary up your arse. All this religion has addled your brain. There's a lot of kind of nasty anti-Catholic stuff on there, and he's just determined to carry on and keep blogging. Now, the police say that because it's on a website, it's not harassment. They're going to look into some other, whether there isn't another offence, another couple of offences. But they told me last Wednesday that they were going to speak to him. It is now Friday. It's almost 10 days later. And nothing is happening at all, and this guy just feels he can carry on blogging and threatening me and saying, I know where your children go to school, and having a go at Robin for being a weak, feeble scrote, outing all our details. He feels that he can just carry on being really super abusive. And it's fine and it's funny, and I deserve it because apparently I've, doxed and harassed and intimidated lots of people myself in the past. Now, this just isn't true. It isn't true. I've never doxed anybody. I've never harassed anybody. I've never intimidated anyone. No matter what anybody says, I know that I haven't done this. And he's harking back to things when I was pregnant in 2012, and I was so stressed because the same thing was happening then, and I was really worried about the health of my unborn baby. I was getting so upset because I was being accused of all this stuff that I hadn't done, and it was proven in the end that I hadn't done it, And it's really easy to fling about accusations, but even if I had done all of this stuff, and I'm not quite sure where I would have found the time to have been running, all these multiple different sock puppet accounts I'm supposed to have been running, even if I had, it doesn't justify what he's doing. But I didn't do it. But it doesn't justify him outing my contact details, my addresses, saying, I know where your children go to school, I know how your children go to school, I've worked it out. And, as I said before, the police just, I think something needs to be done about cyber harassment. I think the police just don't intuitively get it. And we've got all this publicity at the moment about hate crime and should hate crime be recorded, and I'm in agreement with some of that. Yeah, of course, I don't think you should necessarily, if somebody wolf whistles at you, that shouldn't be recorded as a hate incident. At the same time, I am being non-stop kind of cyber bullied, cyber harassed, cyber stalked. As I said before, my ex has been contacted, and nothing is being done. And yet what perplexes me about this is that you look at like that sick prank that was done by the Grenfell people, the people who thought that Grenfell was terribly funny, and they produced the mock-up. That was a disgusting joke. That was really sick. And within 24 hours, these people have been pulled in. But every single day that goes by that nothing gets done, then this guy just carries on, and he says, yeah, Surrey police are going to charge you for wasting their time. They're laughing at you. Nobody cares, Sparrow. This isn't a crime. And every single day that they don't do something, he just carries on, and it gets worse. So one of the things this week, and it's designed to hound me off social media. It's designed to make sure that I'm silenced, that I don't say anything, that I don't have a voice. So one of the things I posted on Twitter was we made a Fire of London model for my year 2 daughter. All the family made it. We had loads of fun. And I put it on social media and said, can you guess what it is yet? I didn't post pictures of my children, just the model. And he got this, and he interspersed it next to that sick Grenfell model and made out that, perhaps it was me. And he just thought it was very funny. He was mocking the whole thing. And I'm thinking, right, okay, so these other people have been arrested for mocking Grenfell, but you can mock it, and it's fine, and you can imply that it was me behind that model, along with publishing my address and phone number and where I live and where we're going to be at what time, and get away with it. I mean, I don't know. As I said before, I don't think that blasphemy laws or whatever are a good idea. I think we need to have the freedom to be able to criticise religion and to criticise ideas. But then when it kind of veers off into actual real life, it's affecting my health, my sleep. I'm so worried. I've just got this sense of dread and anxiety because he's just coming out with so many lies, and I think, what's he going to come out with next? And he says he's got other people on his team, and I'm thinking, who are they? Well, I think I know who they are. And I just don't know what's going to happen next. And sorry, my articulacy has lost me really. And I saw a lawyer this week, and the lawyer was telling me what civil remedies I need to take, and just to produce the first piece of work, be like £5,000. And I don't know what all the other, what it would cost to do all the other court things. And of course he's laughing at me, and he's saying, nobody's going to fund you, and, you won't be able to fund more than a round of sandwiches. And yeah, it's just shocking, really. It's just shocking. And there needs to be, and I, as I said, I think if I was a member of a different minority, then the police would be all over this. But I don't know. I don't know how much longer it's going to go on for. Yeah, and I will try and stop reading it and stop getting upset, and I just know he's going to continue. He says, I'm going to be like the Duracell bunny, and I'm thinking, has he hacked into, has he hacked into my photo albums? Your mind goes into overdrive as to what's going to happen next. Anyway, yeah, it's just shocking. It's shocking that nothing can be done about this. But thanks for watching. I'm sorry I can't say anything positive, but this is Britain. I think this is Britain. Welcome to 2018, where if you are a member of the wrong minority, don't expect any help. Okay, thanks. Take care. God bless. For those of you who are religious, pray for me, and I will of course pray for you. Thanks. God bless.